Right, hey everyone, I'm Clue. So, time for some combo shenanigans. I always love it when I can line up a combo to play through the entirety of the deck, so that is what we're going to do today here as Benji. Now, if you didn't know, Benji's actually one of the first heroes that I really looked into, right, when it came to combos. He's what really inspired me to do combos, because before we had Melody, right, and all her glory, minus the draw that's been yanked from her, right? We had Benji and his unceasing combos, thanks to his own little draw engine, which, in my opinion, is by far the best draw engine in the game. And if he ever gets an adult version, I'm pretty sure it's going to be banned. But nonetheless, right, we'll see what we can do today. But, short little plug, and also, forgive me, right, the camera situation, there is no functional downlight in this room. But also, I am starting to move all of the Fab content from my channel to another channel, right, called Clue TCG. So all the Fab contents will be there, and that channel will solely focus on Fab content, unlike my main channel, which is basically just whatever I feel like doing, whenever I feel like doing it, right? So if you do enjoy the Fab content, I would highly suggest checking that out, and if you don't mind, giving it a subscribe. But nonetheless, let's get into things. So we have Benji, we have our hand loaded, and we basically just want to create a nice big chain. So we'll play our action cards first, right? Predatory Strike. Also worth noting, no setup. Right, we're just using 4 cards in hand. Obviously, I've stacked the deck in my favor, but nonetheless, I always love being able to just start from a four-card hand, right? Because even if you don't get to the levels of insanity in this video, right, it's still sort of a glimpse into what you can do, right? So we can Raw, and now we have a bunch of Tigers. So what we can do is play Crouching Tiger, right? Allow it to hit, kickstart the chain, and that will also allow us to proc our 2 pieces of equipment. So Breeze Rider Boots is every combo card now is Go Again, which is fantastic for a turn. And then we also have the Vest of the First Fist, which is a nice 2-resource bonus, which we will need for a few different things. For instance, the Mask of Many Faces. But from here, we just basically want to play through all the Tigers. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to Raw. We're not going to try to add any extra damage to them. Plus, as long as they're under that 2 damage threshold, we have Benji's effect, which is really good, right? So if this was a proper opponent, they'd only be able to block with equipment or their arsenal card. And the whole idea would be to wear all that out on the combat chain so that our other stuff can sort of go uncontested. So we'll continue playing all the Crouching Tigers, stack up our chains, and I have to remember on the very last one, or this one I should say, right, I guess it doesn't really matter, I can let this resolve first and then play the Mask of Many Faces, right? We now want to name a card for Flood of Force, and that card we will name is just going to be Flood of Force, since it does activate off of itself. Right, so this Crouching Tiger now counts as Flood of Force, meaning that we can then play Flood of Force with its combo effect, which will then allow us to continue to play cards, right? So Flood of Force revealed Flood of Force, which then we can play again, which then reveals Break Tide, and our Break Tide then reveals, of course, our beautiful, beautiful Spring Tiding. So this is Benji's spec, and it is just nuts. So when Spring Tiding hits, draw a card for each other attack action card with 2 or less base, right? So base, any additives, right? Be it the combo effect, Roar of the Tiger, equipment, reactions that add to the attack of the cards, does not matter. Spring Tidings only checks their base. So all the Crouching Tigers always count as 0, and basically every card we played has always been 2 or less. So yeah, Spring Tidings is just a absolutely insane draw engine, and there we go. So now we can continue going, right? But what we're actually going to do is break the chain, because I want Spring Tiding back, right? We're in Blitz, so unfortunately we only get access to 2 copies, and 2 copies is not enough for me. So we'll break the chain, right? We can then Memorial Ground, we can take a Spring Tidings, put to the top of the deck, which is fantastic, and then we can show off some other stuff. So we have Binding Breeze and Aspect of Tiger Soul, which I really love as a combo, right? Especially again in Benji with the 2 damage protection, right? So Biting Breeze then also activates Aspect of the Tiger. Both of them then get you a Crouching Tiger, so it all just feeds into your Tiger swipes and everything else. So we can go Biting Breeze, and Roar is still active, right? So Roar isn't combat chain, it's the entirety of the turn, which is also something to remember. Get a Crouching Tiger, we played a yellow card, so then we can Aspect and get another Crouching Tiger, and then we can do the same with the blues, right? So Biting Breeze into another Aspect, and just like that we have 4 Tigers, and then our Tigers can start to multiply thanks to Maul. So Maul, we can do both, right? They get +3, and then we also get 2 more Crouching Tigers, right? Now, generally speaking, I don't think you want, as Benji, to take both options, because at this point your opponent would still have cards in hand to block with, most likely, right? So they'd be able to disrupt the secondary effect, because it is a on-hit effect to create the 2 extra Crouching Tigers. But hey, this is the practice dummy, so we'll go all out, right? So that gets us some more Crouching Tigers. We can, of course, do it again, go more, right? Do both, and pass. And then we can play all our Crouching Tigers, and of course, then we can do Tiger Swipe, and then Crouching Tigers, and then Tiger Swipe, and then, of course, Spring Tiding to draw the rest of the deck. And that's the big issue with Benji, right? And Spring Tiding, if he ever gets an adult version, it will be Zen on steroids. Because even without the Mystic cards, just, you know, playing 4 or 5 Tigers into a Spring Tidings with the 2 or less protection, right, is just going to be utter insanity. So, yeah, I don't know if he's high on the list to make an adult version, and if he is going to be an adult version, I don't know if they go with the same effects, but more Crouching Tigers, right, a little bit more damage. I mean, they're not attacking for a lot. Even if we played both Raws, it'd still only be 2 damage, right, so it's still covered by Benji's effect. But nonetheless, the main thing we want is the chain links, so that when we play Spring Tidings, we of course draw through the remainder of our deck. So Crouching Tiger one more time, right, and then of course Tiger Swipe. And you've probably all seen this by now, right, because I'm pretty sure Tiger Benji is kind of popular, but our next combo sequence, because I've basically stuck 3 into 1, is going to be a little bit different, and is actually the first combo that I posted to the channel, right, which was a Dagger Benji combo, thanks to Outsiders, because I really loved the idea of Outsiders and being able to throw a bunch of daggers and just attack with a bunch of daggers. Too bad the Dagger support really went to Assassin instead, right? We're due for a few more weapons. If we just had a couple more, it'd be much better for Classic Constructed. Otherwise, just the... God, I forget what the other one's called. The Piercing Needle, I want to say, right? And the Harmonize. Yeah, they're okay. They're not fantastic. Nonetheless, we have a whole bunch of chains. So, of course, we can Spring Tiding. And I also do want to send my little bit of feedback, right? But this whole we no longer count damage against Practice Dummy, it's kind of a bummer, right? I mean, it gives us a big reveal at the end, but we like showing off combo, right? The whole point of the Practice Dummy is to see how much damage we're doing. So, yeah. I don't mind a capped HP, right? They've settled for 9999, right? But showcasing the damage still would be kind of nice, right? But thanks to the Memorial Ground, we still have another Spring Tiding, and weirdly, I'm actually going to cancel the chain again, because I want one more Spring Tiding. So we can Memorial Ground, and we can hit the other Spring Tiding, goes to the top of our deck, and now we can go into some knife shenanigans. So we have our Dagger attacks, and then we also have some hurls, some concealed blades, some knives out, and some stab wounds. So how do we want to go through this? I believe we want to swing first, but we want a blade cuff, so we'll pitch away the Ancestral Harmony, right? So now we have +1 to our Dagger attacks. Ideally, we do want the knives out, which is fine, because we can go Harmonized, and off that we can play our 2 knives out. Let that resolve, increase our damage of our swings. So we're doing 4 apiece with the daggers, right? And then we swing with the other one, pass, and then from there we can go hurl. We can pay the 1, we can pitch our bubble, and of course get rid of 1 dagger. Then we can also conceal blade to re-equip a dagger. So we do that, pass, choose our Zephyr Needle, not Piercing Needle, there we go. Yeah, so a new weapon, a new singular one-handed weapon, a new dagger, just straight new dagger would be nice. Again, I'd love a Tiger version of Gravecaller, oh god, Gravekeeper, whatever the assassin one is, right, where you can spend Crouching Tigers instead of silver to bring it back, something like that. That'd be interesting. Nonetheless, right, so then we can swing, do some 5s, right, and then play hurl again, pay the 1, get rid of our dagger, of course use Concealed Blade, right, and that gets us another dagger. Did I count the hurls correctly? I did count the hurls correctly, right, pitch our last Titanium Bubble, and then just throw away the 2 daggers. Now we haven't really hit for that much. I mean, the damage is nice, but what I really want to show off is Stab Wound, right? So I'm curious how much Stab Wound is actually going to do. So with all the dagger stuff out of the way, we could actually go into Stab Wound, which is when this hits a hero, they lose X life, where X is the number of times a dagger has hit this combat chain. And I would have loved the idea if we could have had more daggers. In Classic Constructed, you could definitely get a sizable amount of damage, right? With 3 Concealed Blades, you'd be able to swing, what is that, 5 times, correct? Right? And then also 5 for the hurl, so it'd be 10. So each stab wound would be doing 10 life damage if it hits. And again, since it has the 2 attack, it is protected by Benji. So it is a nice finisher. It's not as great, right? Because again, just through combo chains and solar wounds, you can definitely do more damage. but it's still a bit underrated. If we get a bit more Dagger support, it might pop off. And I'd really love to see it pop off. But yeah, this would be normally how I'd end the combo, right? The first time I showed it off in Benji. But we have some other shenanigans to go into. So from here, what we can do is go 100 wins, right? Just go through all the 100 wins. They're going to continue to buff each other up, which is nice. They are doing very sizable amounts of damage. 5s into a 5, into a 6. And then, beautifully, right, we can do Winds of Eternity, which will then put them back into the deck. And then we can Spring Tiding. And Spring Tiding will, of course, draw them, right? And then we can play them again. Now, we do lose one since the reds don't actually count towards Spring Tidings. Draw, right? Is that correct? So 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's not correct. The hurls should have counted, right? The hurls were less than 2 damage. Wherever they are, somewhere here. Well, should have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with the hurls. Interesting. Spring Tiding is just 2 or less, right? Nothing specific about it. So, yeah, I don't know why that didn't count. Curious. Nonetheless, right, we can still go 100 wins. Actually, no. For what I want to show off, it has broken it, and it shouldn't have. Where's manual mode? Perfect. I'm not crazy, right? It should have drawn the 2 extra cards. Where are they? Oh, that's 100 wins. Yeah? Nope, that's 100 wins. Where's the hurls? There we go. Yeah, hurl is 2 or less. Right? Is it because... No, Assassin Ninja doesn't matter again. It's just 2 or less. I don't know why I didn't count the hurls for the Spring Tidings, right? Again, 4 hurls and 4 of the 100 wins counting towards Spring Tidings. Should have been draw 8, and we only had the 600 wins and 1 Spring Tiding. So yes, we should have had them. I have them now, so it's fine. We'll see if it counts again, right? But then, again, we continue to play 100 wins. After the first one is activated, they do count all the other 100 wins on the chain. So they are doing a sizable amount of damage, right? So 100 wins, into 100 wins. And then from there, we can do Winds of Eternity once again. Shuffle them back in the deck. Use our other Spring Tiding. Get 6 more cards. Beautiful. Right, play the first one, doesn't count, but now the combo is activated, so they are doing a sizable amount each. Right, 15, 15. It's not as insane as obviously Tiger Zen, but I feel like we've done a sizable amount of damage, right? So then we have our 2 different finishes. So you do Stab Wound, which would be 2 plus 8, so not quite as nice as Assault the Wound for 32. Yeah, for Blitz standards, definitely done, right? And again, if you have magic hands when it comes to shuffling, technically you could screw over your opponent badly, but I'm pretty sure they think something's up if you were to pull something like this off and play all 40 cards first turn. Yeah. Nonetheless, let us see how much damage we've done. Oh, pitch, pitch, pitch. Arsenal doesn't really matter. Concede. So as Benji, 322 damage. Yeah, it's not a horrible combo, right? Again, the aspect of just playing through the whole deck is what I always like. 80 per card is nice too. You do more damage just through Tigers though, right? We've all seen the Zen shenanigans, and it's still accessible even without the Mystic cards as Benji. In fact, I feel like it's kind of more accessible now since you have Spring Tiding still, right? And again, Memorial Ground Spring Tiding back, go into the Giant Tiger Chain, and Memorial Ground Tiger Swipe back as well. And yeah, just shred your opponent. Nonetheless, hope you enjoyed. And yeah, if you don't mind, check out the Fab-focused channel, because eventually content will stop on this channel. I don't know when, but it will. Yeah,